What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. Today, we're going to be doing the disassembly and maintenance of my Tenable knives Prometheus. Let's get into it. All right, guys, we're going to be doing the disassembly and maintenance of my Prometheus. And while we're here, we're going to tune up that detent a little bit. It is just a touch light on my particular version, and sometimes that can happen during production. I am going to move my T10 out of the way. I don't need that at all. You're going to need T6 for the hardware. Concept uses T6 for all their hardware. And then for the pivot, you're going to need a T8. I do recommend WeHa bits, and I have those linked for you down in the description below. And it looks like you will not need to remove the pocket clip as it's part of the steel hardware. You will want to take the T8 out for your two standoffs back here, and then you'll take your T6 for your standoffs, T8 for your pivot. So let's go ahead and get started with the disassembly of the Prometheus. I rather like this. My only complaint with it is truly the fact that it is just tuned a little too light for that flipper tab. So it's sticking to the G10. Let me go ahead and try to get this one loose. See if I can get that out. No. Sticking to the G10 for both of those, so we're going to leave those in there and grab my T8. I do have bit drivers linked down there below for you as well if you don't have those. Yeah, so it is not captive. I can feel the other one spinning freely, so I'm going to grab my miniature bit driver, which is linked down below, and I'm going to grab my other T8. Let's go ahead and lock that pivot down. Actually, let me close the knife here. I feel like it's a little sketch. So it is thundering. I don't know if you hear my dog. I don't know if you hear my dog coming into the bedroom. She just crawled under the bed, but it is thundering nearby. We're having like a storm front passing through here, and she is freaked out by it. Let me see. Does it need to come out from the front, or will it come out the back? If it's not captive, I will go ahead and okay, it just had a bunch of thread locker on there. It's coming out. Which this is, and it is coming out from the front. Okay. Ooh, some of the paint from that pivot collar came loose, but let's go ahead and open it. Since it's not captive in any way, shape, or form, I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. Matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and drop the pivot out from the other side. It was coming out. Let's do this. We'll just lift it up with the pivot in it. It's got race washers on there. Yeah, not captive in any way, and it's got a little bit of paint on it too. So these are not, yeah, they are raced. They did, just so you can see, they did race them there. So pocketed. I wouldn't recommend swapping them out for skiffs. I don't think they are going to work for you. They have the liners completely set up for the race washers, or the bearings, to have a race in them. All right, so this has got some paint on it, so I will put some lube on there. Let me get these bearings out so I can clean them and get them ready to go, and then we'll clean the blade and then put it all back together. And I apologize if I blocked any of that. I just thinking about it as I'm taking it apart. If I blocked anything that you didn't see, hang tight. You'll see me put it back together where everything went. I went through that kind of quickly, didn't I? My apologies. And then, it does have a press fit stop pin, but mine is floating a little bit. Just a heads up. And then I'm going to clean. I use these circuit board cleaning Q-tips to make sure that my detent ball hole doesn't have any gumming in it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and finish it off, cleaning out this pivot here, And I'll be honest with you, a little bit of dirt on that one, not bad. That might have been from the coating on there as well. And then I mentioned I am going to, it is a little light for me, and I can see right here it stops right where that little notch is as far as the distance. So I'm going to work it over a little bit, and actually I might need to, yeah, let me go ahead and remove the pocket clip because I don't want to bend it in the wrong spot. You don't normally have to do this, but if you decide to tune your lock bar, I do recommend removing the scale because it'll make it a little bit easier for you to tune that. So, all right, so now you can see it pretty good. And what I'm going to do is try to increase the amount of distance slightly. Oh, this is a strong lock bar. Let's see here. That might have been a little much. Yeah, that's probably about good. All right, so we'll go ahead and start lubing everything up, and then I'll just put it all back together in one shot. So I'm going to start with the pivot since it is not captive, and I personally prefer taking my knives apart from the pocket clip side. I'm just going to flip the non-captive pivot side, or the free bolt, I should say. I'm going to flip it over to the other side. That's what I'm saying. Oops. Got a little bit of an angle there. I don't put a ton of lube either, especially with micarta. I like for it to patina naturally. I don't really like it to have like a bunch of oil coming out unnecessarily. So I just do enough to put a coat on the washers themselves or the bearings themselves, and I'll actually have enough left over to put it on this one. And we'll go ahead and drop the blade back into place. Make sure that stop pin's going all the way through, and drop the other bearing down as well. Go ahead and dry my hands off. Dry off that. There we go. Just a little dab. Don't need much. Don't need much at all. Let me cap that off so it doesn't leak. And then I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the liner first, and then we'll go ahead and drop the scale down, and then I'll use my T8 to lock these down first, and hopefully that'll keep it pretty centered. We'll put the pocket clip on last. I might need to use the stubby drive or the finger bit driver to keep it from moving. It was pretty well locked in. Yeah, it was really well locked in. Hopefully I didn't go too far there. Yeah, I think I did. So let's back it out a little. Released a lot of pressure there, and I'm definitely off center again, so I'll have to retune it. Ooh, what a difference on the detent. Let's go ahead and loosen this hardware and see if we can center it up a little bit. Actually, that walked already on its own. Just loosening it a little bit. Yeah, that centered it up. Oh, what a huge difference. Huge difference. And we're centered. Let's go ahead and reinstall the pocket clip. And then once I've installed the pocket clip, I'm just going to go ahead and clear out, there we go, the mat so that you can see the knife a little bit better. I know the dark green on the black isn't the easiest to see, but once I finish installing the pocket clip, like I said, we'll move that out of here. I'm just going to check everything and make sure that I didn't miss anything as a precaution. I know I didn't loosen these, but I'm just checking them anyway. And I will say, Concept does use T6 here, which is not my favorite, but they do such a deep tooling on the button head screw that I've never really had an issue with any stripping or anything like that. So let me clean this up and we'll be right back. All right, so we are back. That is your disassembly and maintenance for the Tenable. Full disclosure, I did do this disassembly before actually carrying and cutting it, just because right out the box, I could tell this was way too light of a detent, and that tuning almost can't even fail it. Like, it didn't quite lock out there, but if you're not trying hard to fail it, oh wow, that made a huge improvement for me. I would like to see Concept start getting their detent tunes a little bit stronger than what they are from the factory. It works, but you got to really be mindful to rip it. Here I'm just a little light pressure, a little flick, and boy, that thing is flying. But we came back dead center here. I'm happy about that. I love that they're giving you a mill titanium pocket clip. It is a little long here. It probably needs to stop, truth be told, like right about there. I think where if it came to a complete stop, it would be nice. But I will say I did test it, and it is very nice on how that functions. But there is your disassembly and maintenance for your Tenable Prometheus. Really impressed with the quality on the knife just from the disassembly. Again, the button head screws being T6, not my favorite, but they do a really nice deep tooling, and the bit goes in there nice and solid. Doesn't feel sketch at all. I would have loved if they could have somehow made it captive, either with a D shape or something like that, but I'm kind of glad also in the same regard that it didn't, because I was able to flip that pivot over, because I personally like to take all of these screws that come loose apart from that pocket clip side. But stay tuned, full review will be coming. If you enjoyed the disassembly on your way out, hit that like for me. Consider subscribing if you're not subscribed. Special thank you to the channel members. I love you guys. I hope all of you have a fantastic week, and don't forget those links down in the description. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.